I've got it here. Yeah, I got a copy of a letter that was addressed to Jason Kenney and then was sent to a number of senators from a gentleman named William Lacey. And I'm going to have, I think this is an important issue, so I'm going to just read it. It's not that long. And it's addressed actually to the Prime Minister. And I'm writing to you today regarding a recent experience that I had in our nation's capital. My wife and I traveled out east to drop our youngest child off at Queen's University for his first year of engineering. Seeing as this was a fairly long trip, we decided we should extend our trip by a few days so as to take in the sights and sounds of Ottawa. Over the following few days, we made plans to go on a bike tour of the city, highly recommended, visit the Science Museum and National Gallery, and tour the core buildings of our nation's capital, House of Commons, Senate, and Supreme Court. In all, the experience was a good one, with one very notable exception. When my wife and I went to visit the Senate, we were taken aside by security and told that the shirt I was wearing needed to be removed as it may offend some people. What was the offending shirt? Nowhere does the shirt say anything negative, defamatory, or insulting to others. Far from it. It advocates a responsible and ethical approach to resource development. Last I checked, freedom of expression is protected under Section 2 of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And he includes a picture of himself with his T-shirt, which says, "I love oil and gas."
I have that T-shirt.
And it's got for love, it's got a heart. Moreover, there were other people on the tour who had graphics of things like a skull with a cross on the forehead, an anti-discrimination shirt, irony, and one with a peace symbol on it. Last time I checked, there was nothing illegal about the Canadian energy sector, and yet I was made to feel as though I should be embarrassed for what I was wearing. The solution, I was told, could either leave, or I could turn my shirt inside out and take part in the tour. I chose the latter option. The next stop on our tour was the House of Commons, where I was welcomed, and there were absolutely no concerns expressed regarding my shirt. I went out of my way to talk with various members of security, and not one of them raised an eyebrow at my shirt. I would like an answer as to why I was treated in such a manner at the Senate, and if it is the policy of the Government of Canada to shame members of the Canadian energy industry. I am proud of the industry I work for, and I know firsthand that we are leading the way globally in terms of improving environmental performance, as well as other aspects related to ESG, environmental, social, and governance standards. I look forward to your response. Kindest regards, William Lacey. So, I'd like to know what happened here. That's what I'd like to know.
I think fair enough, Senator Tkachuk. I think I would like to know too. So once I have Richard is on vacation, Kathy is here replacing Richard, and the PPS reports up to them, and I would have them look into the matter and report back to us.
Has she received a complaint of any kind?
No, not that I'm. Kathy?
No, Senator, this is the first that I've heard of the matter, so unfortunately I don't have any information to provide to this committee on it. Again, it's corporate security that reports directly to the clerk of the Senate and not PPS. But I will take the instruction from the chair and look into the matter and report back to the committee as required.
Is there a policy on what security can deem offensive before they allow? Is there some kind of a policy? Why would they? Like, it seems odd to me that they would pick this out. Very odd. And it obviously seemed odd to Mr. Lacey. He's a Canadian citizen from Alberta, and was turned back from the Senate of Canada. So as the head of corporate security here, could we get him to come? Is there a head of corporate security here? Julie?
I'll let you answer that.
Okay. So the letter of complaint was forwarded to me, and immediately I reached out to my counterpart at the PPS, the director of PPS, Mr. Kevin Leahy, and together we will look into the matter. We've reached out to Mr. Lacey in order to narrow down the timeline of his arrival at the Senate, so we can look into any necessary footage to help us determine what transpired. And I have asked the director of PPS for their operational procedures so that it can help me understand what may have transpired.
Do they have any guidelines as to what material is offensive? I mean, there has to be some guidelines of some sort of what people wear inside.
They do have standard operating procedures, and we have asked for those, and we'll take a look at what's there.
Could we have a copy of those?
I'd have to discuss that with the speaker, as they fall under the authority of the speaker.
Oh. Okay.
Senator Batters?
Why would there be a difference between what the Parliamentary Protective Services is considering to be offensive in the Senate as compared to the House of Commons? Because it should be the same security force for all.
That's a very good question, and I cannot answer that. It should be the same across the board.
Yes, and just as a Western Canadian, I just find that outrageous. Thank you.
As a Canadian, I find it outrageous.
Yes, absolutely.
Sure.
Oh, Julie, in your opinion, and I don't know if you can see this, but if, in your opinion, would our policy state that that is offensive?
I'd have to look at the policy to confirm.
So possibly saying I love oil and gas might be considered offensive? Is that what you're saying?
No, Senator, I think that there are different scenarios where I don't think offensive is the right word. I think that there are different circumstances where, for example, if you were attending the galleries and wearing anything as to perhaps protest, then that's where we have guidelines. So I need to take a look at all the guidelines we have in place, consult with the PPS, and then I'd come back with a proper response and analysis.
Senator St. Germain.
Monsieur le Président, je pense.
I think that this is an important question, and we have to check the facts, and it also deserves to be studied attentively. Our security team wasn't able to check all of the facts, so I think that we should delay this discussion and have it in public at our next meeting.
Okay.
You want to do it? I'm sorry.
I think she recommended that it be postponed and have an answer for the next meeting.
It's an important question. We need answers. We need facts checking, and we don't have it now. So I'd like this question to be really studied and our questions answered in a very precise and factual way. So this is why I believe that we can speak for this for 10 or 15 minutes today, but we won't receive all the answers that rightly you are requiring. So this is why I recommend that we have a discussion in public, but at the next meeting.
Let's get the answers.
Chair, I'm okay with that under the proviso that we know if our friends from Alberta, or in fact from Atlantic Canada in the oil industry, if they come into this building sometime in the next few months before our next meeting, and they're wearing a shirt saying they love oil and gas, are they going to be turned away? I think it's important that we need at least that answer, Senator St. Germain, that...
Sir, I believe that the answer is...
Well, and I fully plan on, if I don't get an answer, on buying myself that T-shirt and coming here and seeing how far I can get in the building wearing it, because this is ridiculous.
I think fair enough. I think rather than wait for the next meeting of the committee, I think, Julie, if you can develop a response and circulate that to all senators as soon as you can.
Yep.
Okay.